Support for the Lancast is provided by Winey Way Books and Pennsylvania College of Art and Design.
Welcome to the Lancast. I'm David Moulton.
And I'm Keith Slesser. This episode we spoke with Erica Millner and Jenny Shoulderbrandt, the women behind the local installment of the Inside Out Project.
The ladies tell us about some of the ideas behind the Inside Out Project.
Yeah, it's taking the art from a museum or a gallery that only a few people could see and bringing it to the outside. So it's bringing it to everyone's view. Everyone's able to see it.
Public art is becoming more prominent locally here in Lancaster County, and our guests share the reaction to it they see in the community.
But I think right now, our strongest public art installation is the Occupy Lancaster people that are across from Fecatured. I think that's amazing. Every time I see them, I'm just inspired, and I just think it's incredible to have them in our city.
Enjoy the conversation.
Welcome, ladies. Do you mind just introducing yourselves for the purpose of getting the audience familiar with your voice, and just tell us a little bit about what you do?
Okay, well, thanks for having us. And my name is Erica Millner, and I have a gallery here on Prince Street. It's called Mio Studio, and I've been a jewelry designer for 13 years, so that's my thing.
Well, thanks for having us. I'm Jenny Shoulderbrandt, and I'm a photographer here in Lancaster. And I'm also a practitioner of Ayurveda, which is the sister science to yoga, oldest medical system in the world.
So you're part of this project, or you've been part of this project, the Inside Out Project. Can you explain a little bit what that's involved?
Well, it's a global public art project. It was started by JR, who's from Paris, and he started taking photographs and then just kind of guerrilla style, putting them up in subways, on walls, and they were just portraits of people to show that they were real people. They weren't just news, they weren't just thugs, they were people he knew, people in his neighborhood. And that evolved into a large-scale project that is in many different countries all around the world right now. And last year he won $100,000 for the TED Talks, for the TED Conference, and using that money he started to do an online, he started to have a whole initiative where you could take your own photos, send them in to his group now that he's with the money that he has, and you would be able to get those photos and put them up yourself. So he was kind of making it a lot easier for us to be involved in this project. And there's about 200 projects that are just in the U.S. alone, probably more going up right now, because every day I go on the website, there's more and more people downloading the photos of their projects.
So it's they take pictures of people within their community, and what's the thought behind it, or what are they trying to, behind the name, the Inside Out Project? What's behind the purpose for that name, or do you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah, it's taking the art from a museum or a gallery that only a few people could see and bringing it to the outside. Okay. So it's bringing it to everyone's view. Everyone's able to see it.
So with his grant, he pays for everything?
Well, you can have him. You can ask for all the money for all the photos to be printed, but I was thinking that a lot of people want to do this in a lot of different countries. So I was thinking, Nairobi, Kenya, that would make a lot more sense for them to get this grant money. But here we are in Lancaster, and I felt like I could seriously, both of us together could seriously raise the $440 that we needed, just by asking our friends, and we didn't ask for the money.
Yeah, so essentially it's $20 per print if you wanted to donate money to have them print it. But it's definitely, it's more to print. It's not, they were definitely supplementing that. Mm-hmm. So it was really a $20 donation per print so that they could fund other projects.
Okay. So you're donating the $20 to the project.
Yeah.
And then they give you a print. And you're... Yeah, I was talking to Jenny now. You were the photographer in the local, or one of the photographers anyway, in the local installation, I guess what you call it.
Yep, just her.
Just me.
Just you? Okay.
So each of these projects, sorry to interrupt you, has its own idea. So it could be, it could be shopkeepers in London. It doesn't have to be a certain group of people. So our idea was Lancaster, Pennsylvania, we're not all Amish. So we were building this idea that our kind of forgotten neighborhood really needed to be seen, and not just to, you know, store your tires, to put them in the junkyard next door, or this kind of like abandoned park near us. We wanted to show how vibrant our neighborhood was. So I think we were talking about some other photo project that you wanted to do with our gallery, and then this idea came up, and I said, you know, Jenny, would you take photos?
Yeah, and I was really excited to be involved because my first love in photography has been street photography. I was a photographer in New York City for many years, and what really inspired me was just going up to people on the street with my camera and just asking if I could take their picture. Very spontaneous, very off the cuff, and I really got a connection with people, just people I didn't know, but there was just something that happened in those few moments that sort of translated in the photograph. So I was really, really excited when Erica approached me with that project, because it just spoke to me on many levels, but it really, it was kind of like going back to my roots as a photographer. So
I need to back up to just something you said here. You guys are not Amish? Is that what you're saying?
No, we're not.
we sometimes we dress Amish, so you might think we are right now, but
You know, when you go to Goodwill, you can get real Amish outfits.
Yeah, without zippers.
Yeah.
Or buttons.
to users. And I think it's amazing that the Amish are part of this amazingly diverse community. It's, I've been here 4 years, and I was just blown away by how diverse the city was. You see a horse and buggy ride by, and then you've got, Latinos and black people and white people, and it's really very diverse. And I think the Amish definitely are a large part of that, diversity. But when you ask someone, or when someone asks where I live, right, and I say I live in Lancaster, obviously the only thing they think about is, Amish. So I think we should be really proud of just the whole piece and how diverse this place is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the title was in no way meant to be, that's what we don't want to be. It's just to kind of represent that we're everyone, Right. You already think of this group, which we meant no disrespect to, but we're everyone else also.
Yep.
And that's certainly when you look at the photos, I mean, we got a really wonderful, diverse group of photos. Mm-hmm. And that was basically just Sunday morning. We waited for it to stop raining, because we all know it rained a lot this September. And Sunday morning we went out. It happened to be 9/11.
Yeah, which was pretty poignant, actually. Well, I was in New York during 9/11, and this was the 10-year anniversary. So going out and taking photos of people on 9/11, and specifically photos that were to promote, diversity and show how diverse our population is, and just in general, we have a crazy diverse, country, and we should be really proud of it. It was just poignant. I can't necessarily put it into words, but it was almost like coming full circle in a sense. I took pictures on 9/11. I had to walk home from my friend's place that I had spent the night at. I had been to a party the night before, and I ended up walking home. I lived in Brooklyn, so I walked home from the East Village to Brooklyn over the Manhattan Bridge, because the Brooklyn Bridge was closed. And I took pictures the whole way home. And so just reconnecting with my camera on that day, 10 years later, kind of, I don't know, out of the ashes, we're still here.
Right. Brings back
nostalgia to it. Nostalgia. Yeah. It was kind of an emotional day just in general, and it was a really good outlet, I guess, to be able to work on this project.
Yeah, because it was really nice. I mean, I had a wonderful time walking around and meeting people. And it just had like this really sense of being alive.
Yeah.
You know, and everyone's really enjoying themselves. I mean, people were dressed up for
the Steelers game.
There was like an entire family dressed in their Steelers jerseys. And, people were just having like a really quiet, like nice Sunday. A lot of people were home, like watching TV. We were, with a couple of kids playing out front. So it was kind of, it was really nice. It was like almost relaxing, and people were enjoying themselves. So it's just kind of like testament to humanity. Like we're still here.
Yeah, we're here, and we're just living our lives, and trying to be good people, essentially. And it was cool. I just observing Erica, because I was in her neighborhood. I live in a different neighborhood, but walking around Erica's neighborhood, she recognized certain people, but she was actually able to meet them, and they talked and interacted in a way I think that hadn't really happened. And then I know that after we did the shoot, people were coming up to you asking when their picture was going to be up, and we got a really hugely diverse group of people. We had people, we had Nepali refugees that were new to the area. We had a woman who was born in the house that, she still lived in. So
yes, it was neat, and it was an opportunity to get to know some of my neighbors, because there was teenage girls who lived next door, totally ignore me all the time. I mean, I've only lived there for 2 years, but I guess it's a long time for someone to just be too cool to say hi. And then, right after this project, they were like telling their friends, like they would see me and they would have a private conversation with their friends, oh, I'm going to be on this building, or, they kind of had a lot of pride in it. And then ever since then, they've said hi to me, and, the mother who I've always said hi to, just really didn't know what to say to me, or just even to say hi. So it's changed a lot. That's really interesting. And, some little things have gone on in front of the house where the neighbors have told me, oh, this is what happened, instead of just, they're just like even more keeping an eye out, and it's really made a difference.
It really, I happen to live in the same neighborhood, just to all our listeners, but it is really, when you first move into a neighborhood, it's sort of a little scary. The people are a little scary. You don't know them, and especially like our neighborhood is very diverse. There is a lot of different ethnic people in our neighborhood, and when you do something like this project, and then people start to meet, and then they start to recognize you, and then you feel it's like people were I've actually had where people were actually watching out for my house, to a point where, the one time I was coming home at 3 a.m. and I was getting in my garage, and this neighbor across the street yelled, "Hey, what are you doing?" Yelling at me, and I was like, "Oh, it's okay, it's me." And he's like, "Oh, okay, I thought somebody was breaking in your garage."
Yeah.
And it was just, some of these people that society has sort of like said they're rough and thrown them out, sort of thing, and they're watching my back, they're watching it. So it's just what you're saying about meeting the neighborhood, and now like there's that connection point, so people will talk to you, and you're like one of them now, kind of thing. And it's really great.
Yeah, I mean, I always think it's just because I'm the weirdo. Like, we are. It's true. Like, we're the weirdos who moved into the neighborhood, so it's kind of like we have to kind of prove ourselves, keep the place clean and really, like, make sure we aren't making too much noise, because we're the ones that I feel are, like, kind of like the outsiders.
Right.
So, yeah. Because I've lived in, different places all over, and I usually feel like I'm the one that people think, they should watch out for me.
Now, these pictures that you put up on this paper-like material...
Just paper.
This is paper.
Yep.
So it's biodegradable, right? It's a biodegradable paper? Yep. Has it all come down by now?
No. Actually, no. Not at all. There's, almost all of them are up. There's, like, one that's half gone, and maybe, like, 3 that are, like, flapping a little bit. But it's really staying up, and it's so strange because it's just a piece of, like, like notebook paper. It's, like, not special paper at all. And then what puts it up is the wheat paste. So it is totally biodegradable. And you can see that, too, because, like, little crumbs of it have come off, and they're on the ground, and they just, like, mold and deteriorate. It's kind of interesting. And that was something, too, that people had said to me, why are you not putting vinyl up? Why are you going to have this for such a short period of time? And that's really part of the whole project, too, that it will just disappear. It's just impermanent, and, that's really just part of it, like here today, gone tomorrow. and then it just makes room for the next project that we're working on, or something else to happen. Now is the next time for someone from a church or a school to take up this same idea and move it forward in that way.
Well, you said how the community was really positive about doing the project and seeing their pictures come up. Have they reacted with seeing them kind of degrade over this time period?
Well, I don't think many people have this experience, because usually, like globally, when you see these pictures up, it's usually on a wall of a building, like, an abandoned building, or under an underpass, or on a fence, or on like a warehouse where people aren't there at night. So we have like this fantastic thing that's happening now, that we get to hear everybody say everything about the photos day and night, when we're working, when we're sleeping, when we're making dinner. So that's really been fantastic. I mean, that's like an added bonus that I didn't realize was going to happen. So people really, they bring their friends over, they remark, they say, is that your brother? No, that can't be your brother. Give me a break. And they have like this whole dialogue. They're like, oh my God, can you believe she's on there? How'd she get on there? What's her thing? Oh, is this a wanted ad? There's like this whole, like this whole dialogue going on. And
kids
then
try to hit it with balls or something.
That happened once.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Did I tell you that?
I think you did.
That happened in the very, very beginning when we just put them up. The first night, a bunch of kids were outside hitting them, and they're really high up. They're probably about 30 feet up. Yeah. And that just happened that one time, which is good. But yeah, it's kind of, and then now we have like the flapping of the paper. Like, today's pretty windy. So as I'm waking up, I hear like this flapping, kind of like a bird noise. So it's kind of like we're inside our installation, which is really like a very, at first it felt really vulnerable to be in there, because so much attention was called to the building, and there was so much conversation and energy put towards the building that it was really palpable. Not having to do with your taste buds.
I'm sure it would taste okay.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's wheat.
Yeah. There's a lot of sugar in that taste,
Not
too.
gluten-free. So.
No,
it's not.
Yeah. And then it was really interesting. It still is, to come home and to see everybody. We're like, hey, guys.
They're becoming part of your family.
Yeah. It's really interesting. And they're just like watching you all the time. Like you're.
Well, that's an interesting kind of just add on to the actual project. Like, it's created a whole new dimension of the culture surrounding, whether it's people surrounding your building talking about it, or hearing the paper flapping. It's like a whole other dimension to the installation beyond just a photograph.
Oh my gosh. Well, last night I was like, because when we first moved in, I wasn't sure about the neighborhood. I was like, okay, are we going to be able to get work done here? Like, what's going on? And we had a list. Well, I don't know, my partner really didn't have this list, but I had a list of 10 awesome reasons to live on this block. And one of them was homeless guys helping you move whatever you need to be moved for $2, So all this asphalt was moved into our truck, and we were redoing all these things. And then someone did a rap video in front of the Blue Star, and that was like number 2 reason, So there's like all these like great reasons, and now there's like a ton more. And then last night I was like, okay, I no longer live in the ghetto, because we heard all these people outside, all this commotion, like a not scary, but like a very boisterous, very like rambunctious, like energetic commotion last night. It was like, I don't know, midnight or something. And then all of a sudden, they all break into Sweet Transvestite from the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Wow.
I was like, I no longer live in the ghetto. Okay, it's over. I'm like,
it's transformative.
Who was that?
That was me. No,
Was it you? Because
Sounds like you.
I'm like,
I think I put him up to it.
well, we
Next,
do.
they're going to put up a
music.
gap.
I know.
It's going to become.
Right in the quarters building, it's going to become
Exactly.
I know. But I was like, so it's, that transformative, like, where are we living now?
You've literally transformed the energy. I think that has a lot to do with it. Just, paying some attention to an area, whether it's through an art project or just something that with the intention of bettering the neighborhood or bettering the community, you're sending out, a particular kind of energy, and then you draw that energy to that particular spot. So.
And when we had the reception, it was like 60 people came to that reception, people who were in the project and who were like sponsors of the project or just were interested to see it. Like, you came over, and I know you live in the area, but there was a lot of people there that had never even been on King Street. It was like the forbidden area.
Right,
and so that was really amazing to see them. And then the people in the project got to tell their story to the people who were part of the advocates for the project. So that's like ideal. I can't even believe that happened because I didn't realize that would happen. I didn't know that was going to happen. And I knew like our friends and people who wanted to see the project would come. I really didn't know if anyone in the project would be there. And they were. There was a ton of people who came by.
It's great. We're gonna actually go ahead and go to break now, and we'll be back with more.
Winding Way Books has been a major supporter of us here at the Lancast, and Melody has a great deal that we'd like to share with you.
Right now, with any purchase of $25 or more, you can get a $5 gift card from a number of different Lancaster businesses.
So make sure you take advantage of this great deal and come on down to Winding Way Books, located at 106 West Chestnut Street in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And we're back on the Lancast. Now, ladies, you guys are involved in a lot of different community organizations and stuff. What's the next big thing you're doing? Is that not the greatest
Ruling
question?
the world.
Not sure if we can reveal that information.
Well, we have our first meeting for our next public art project on Thursday. Oh, it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
But in podcast land, it was 2 weeks ago. So we're going to meet with a few people in town. And we like to, well, we haven't really developed a mission yet, a mission statement, or exactly what we're going to do as like a collaboration, a formal collaboration. But for me, I'd like it to involve as little work as possible and no like board member policy or voting or permits. Yeah. So, yeah.
Sounds like a really complicated thing to actually do.
Yeah, it seems like it would actually be harder to
Simplicity
do it without it.
sometimes is hard.
Yeah.
And I'd like as a sort of mission, statement idea, I really want to be able to communicate with people through these projects and start conversations through, whatever we're putting up. Mm-hmm. We had I've had 3 burglaries in my house in the last year and a half, and I've had this. This is another idea, but I've really just wanted to. I want to be able to speak to the people that are burglarizing my house. I want to have a conversation with them. I don't know who they are. I don't know what they're about. I know they are desperate. They need money. I don't know if it's for drugs or for diapers or whatever, but I want to talk to them, and I want them to know who I am. So somehow through, some sort of public installation or, signage, I don't know. But I think that these projects can be about this kind of communication with people who maybe don't think that people want to hear their opinion on things, or maybe they think that people don't want to get to know them. But I want to get to know them. And I think that the more we, as a community of this city, as a community, the more we start these conversations and just talk to people that maybe we wouldn't normally talk to, or look at a picture of a person that we would kind of pass by, I think the more that happens, the more we can, get some stuff done, but, just kind of create more of a community with each other and not kind of separate people, into different categories.
Yeah, that's a lot what JR talked about with the Inside Out project as well. He would take photos of the women in Brazil in the favela and post their eyes on all of the buildings. And the law enforcement had, the police had no idea what was going on. And they actually had to go to that area they never went to and ask the women, hey, what's going on? Why are all these eyes facing the city? What is going on? So it started the conversation. And then after that, it was, less drugs, less gangs. I mean, eventually things changed because of the conversation being started.
So it's really like policy making through art.
Yes. I would agree with that. And this next project that we're probably going to do, I mean, it sounds pretty easy to do, is really interactive. And it really is conversation starting, not just people interacting with the art and talking to us, but also, and I'm sure it'll generate a crowd and people talking to each other, which is really important too.
How do you feel the community responds to public art? I mean, I know you just did something, but in general, when you think of Lancaster City, for those who are listening who might not be around here, the art community is really growing, and public art is becoming something that's not, rare, I want to say. I'm not saying that it's not needed, but it's not rare. I mean, you've got stuff at PCAT, and then the art park right across the street, the Poetry Path project. You get the Music for Everyone pianos out every year, or the last 2 years at least, and they're constantly doing stuff in town to bring art forward. Have you noticed the public's reaction?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to see the pianos.
Yeah.
Because Grandma Shakes went around from one piano to another and played at each one of them around the city. And then every once in a while you'll see someone just playing their heart out at one of these pianos. But I think right now, like, our strongest public art installation is the Occupy Lancaster people that are across from PCAD. I think that's amazing. Like, every time I see them, I'm just inspired. And I just think it's incredible to have them in our city. And they have different signage. I mean, once they had, like, all these little blurbs, like the little cartoon blurb. And they had probably like 100 of them stuck in the ground. And they were all saying what they would say to the earth. I'm sorry, or, just different things.
I never thought about that as an actual installation. I really like that idea. I think that's great. No, but I think this is really just the beginning, of the public art in this city. It seems like it's slowly coming out, with the pianos, with the poetry, and I think that from my point of view, there's been a really great reception to it. Just seeing people looking at it or stopping to look at it and to think about it, or to play something on a piano. I mean, that would never happen if there wasn't just a piano sitting around. But, Eli from Grandma Shake actually told me that there was one night and there was like some Amish guy with a fiddle and like a homeless guy playing the piano, and she was there, and like there was just this really crazy diverse group of people that all got together because of this piano that was sitting there that would never have happened. So again, it's conversations being started kind of with little groups around the city. And
did you say that community art is kind of like key to bringing a peace between the races, between because like you said about the diversity of some people that come together. There's a piano there, and there's this Amish guy playing with this homeless guy, and this and it's it's sort of like a universal language.
It's transcendent.
Art, it's just kind of everybody can appreciate it and
you can close your eyes and listen to music, and you don't know what the person looks like. You can appreciate it. You're using your ears. That's the sense you're using. You're not using your eyes. You can close off like any sort of judgment that maybe you have visually to a person, and you're just listening to music. So coming together around music or visually, or putting it in your face, like because our project was about visually putting people next to each other, pictures of people that looked completely different, and saying, here's a person, here's a person, here's a person, here's a person, and we're all people, but at the core we're all human beings. So I think these conversations surrounding public art are kind of pointing to that. They're all pointing to expression, people, humanity.
I think it just to emphasize what Keith was saying, and you, that especially class. I see a big bridge between class more than
that's kind of more what I was.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely the race thing, but I think in our society here, it's more of a class gap than it is a race gap, in my opinion. But I see that bridged with the pianos. I mean, you'll see, either like a homeless guy or someone in a business playing at the park in the city.
Binns Park.
What's that?
Binns Park?
Binns Park, yes, Binns Park. And then you'll have like all these street kids that hang there just chilling around the piano, and not even like fazed by it. Like neither group of people is fazed by it, so anyway.
Yeah, well, that's how you meet, that's how our band used to practice in my garage, and we were very loud, and at first the garage was not very well soundproofed, so I met several neighborhood kids that way. They just literally, I mean, they had, no qualms about it. They just walked up, opened the door, and walked into my garage while we're playing, and we're just like, hey, how are you? And like, hey, you guys are great. Can I sit in here? Sure, go ahead. Anyway, and it was just, art is just such a great tool to meet people and to break down walls and barriers and stuff. I've always been a huge fan of like graffiti art, so just because maybe it's because it's illegal, I don't know, but it's I didn't say that. ADD people forget. Okay.
Now go out there and
go out there and graffiti art. No.
I want to see this.
I want to see our website on every wall.
The opinions expressed on the Lancaster are not necessarily that of them. Okay.
So are there any other projects that you guys are thinking about or groups that you're involved in along these lines?
Well, we're both involved in the yoga community, and yoga is another way to sort of transcend, race or class or things that may distract us from the fact that we're all people, and just, compassion. So any other... I don't know. I'd like to see there's been kind of yoga in the park, but I'd like to see like a really big yoga in the park, or like a huge dance party in the middle of Binns Park, or across the street. I call it the Planet of the Apes building, I guess maybe having music or movement of some kind be one installation. So maybe that'll happen.
What is the aha moment?
Last Friday we went to an event with Dan Pilata, and it was at MU42. It was sponsored by the Lancaster County Community Foundation, and it was part of their project. I guess like what they're doing now is a bunch of lectures that are different people who really think outside the box, different innovators in different ways. And the speaker who was there on Friday spoke about his book called Uncharitable. So it's a new way of thinking, a new way of going about raising money to, for example, to cure breast cancer, to find a cure for AIDS. And so there was a lot of different ways. He talked about not even just thinking outside the box, but outside the box of the box, like the double box. But he also talked about being true to yourself and following your truth as a person. And we were actually featured with the Inside Out project, as well as 4 other different groups in the city that have been doing things outside the box. So that was really great to see our project being featured there. And it was really amazing to see 300 people on a Friday morning come together and listen to this speaker. And I'm really looking forward to the next speaker that's coming in spring. They said to stay tuned for that. But it really shows that Lancaster is changing, that they could bring 300 people together on a Friday, 11 at 11. And it really shows a great initiative.
Well, it's really cool to hear about all the things that you guys are involved in and your thoughts on some of the community projects going on. If anyone wants to get in touch with either of you, how can they do that?
They can't.
Fair enough.
Facebook me. Become my 1,456th friend.
Oh, I don't have that many.
It's a business decision. You can come by my shop and buy holiday gifts. Spend their money locally.
And what about the
You're like not buying it. You're not buying it.
Hey, I don't wear a lot of jewelry, so what do you want me to do?
I have a blog entry, so if anyone wants to see the photos from our Inside Out project, they're posted on my blog.
And we'll make sure to have the link to that in the show notes at thelancast.com.
And there'll be, also we could link it to Inside Out Project so you can see all the pictures globally.
Yeah.
And I'll put my email there. But you can find me on Facebook, too.
All right. We'll have all that
no one
there.
emails anymore. It's so old school.
Does that mean I'm getting old?
I'll send you a fax.
Better yet, I'm going to mail you a letter.
Well, Well, again, we'll have all that stuff at the show notes at Lancast.com. And thanks a lot, ladies, for joining us. It's nice to know that people out there are advocating for public art like you guys are.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
We hope you've been enjoying the Lancast.
This episode was produced by myself, David Moulton, with show notes by Keith and Lauren Slesser.
All pertinent links to this episode can be found in the show notes at thelancast.com.
If you specifically liked this episode, we ask that you consider making a donation.
Every little bit helps. Even $1 a show can keep us going.
If you'd like to help support us, you can do so by going to thelancast.com/donate.
And don't forget to subscribe in iTunes and tell a friend about the show.
So, for the Lancast, I'm David Moulton,
And I'm Keith Slesser.
asking, are you in the cast?